Hey guys, Wild Willie here. This isn't going to be one of those videos, your average winter survival car kit video. I'm going to focus on some more obscure things or some things that you wouldn't necessarily think to pack that can make a big difference if you're stuck in your car, whether it be for a few hours or a couple days. We're not going to go over everything because a lot of the stuff, common sense stuff, you guys should have in your car already. I'm going to focus on some other stuff, like some particular lighting stuff, heating stuff, and food stuff that you wouldn't think of normally. I'll put the list down in the description below of everything that I carry in the car, but I'm not going to talk about every single item. Like the no-brainer stuff, obviously, is the windshield washer fluid, extra washer fluid, jumper cables, safety salt or kitty litter for grip in case you get stuck somewhere, snow chains if you're allowed to have them in your part of the country or wherever you're from. Pull cables there in case you need to get pulled out of somewhere in case you're stuck really bad. Extra warm clothing, hats, mitts, wool blankets, a really good sleeping bag if you can, really good winter sleeping bag. That sort of stuff is no-brainer stuff, should be with you in your car. So I'm going to talk about some different stuff you might not think about, stuff that might make your life a little bit easier if you are trapped. So we'll go over that right now. But before I go that, I'm going to tell you right now, take your kit, try it in your car, whether it be for an hour, whether it be for 10 minutes, whether it be overnight. You don't know how uncomfortable it can be in your vehicle, your car, your truck, wherever you're driving until you try it. I drive a crossover SUV type thing and the back seats fold down. Even then I thought, okay, I could lie back there, but until I put a thermopad in there and did a little jiggling with the seats and a head support thing and made it comfortable, I would have been an awful stay if I would have had to sleep in this thing for 1 or 2 days. So anyways, let's get to it. Let's go over the video and we'll talk about the stuff you might normally not think about taking with you. Okay guys, item number one we're going to talk about is lighting. Lighting is a major comfort for any situation, whether it be a fire, flashlights, whatever. You really only have two options. Well, you got three options technically, but we're going to talk about these two as in flashlight options. This is a UST 30-day lantern, which means I got 3D batteries in here, and this light will stay on for 30 days at 120 lumens on low, and it's lots of lighting. The only downside is batteries don't fare good in the cold. That's the only thing that sucks about this light. The other option is the no shake. There's no batteries in here. You shake this up, and then you turn it on. And the more you shake it, the more energy it produces, and the brighter and the longer the light stays on. This requires no batteries. The only downside is this is a plastic, and if it gets cold, it's been sitting in a cold car, it can be fragile, it can break very easy. This is made out of aircraft aluminum. Whether you choose to bring extra batteries, which I carry this one, and I'll show you why too. Let's go for a little walk here. This has just been sitting on my counter. Look how this thing glows already. Like if you're in a dark environment, this thing lights better than one of those reusable glow sticks. This thing stays light for about 9 hours, and it's a bright glow light. Like you can read off this. Here, I'll even down in my basement. So you can get a lot of light off this thing. So this is kind of the one I carry. I do carry that plastic one too, but like I said, if it gets cold, I'm not relying on it too much because it's very brittle when it gets cold. So regardless, you got to have a decent flashlight. It's going to bring the psychological effect of being secure much greater. Next items we're going to talk about, guys, or the next one, I bring one of these. And for those of you that don't know what it is, this is a rechargeable power pack. Now you're thinking, if I'm stuck in my car, I can charge stuff through my port, but you know what? Eventually you might run out of gas, or you might not be able to turn the car on because it's snowed in and the carbon monoxide issue, blah, blah, blah. You can't dig out the exhaust. This thing is great. It runs off solar. It takes about 6 hours to charge through the solar panel. I mean, you can plug it into. It is 15,000 milliamp, so it is a lot of power. I can charge my phone 3 or 4 times with this easy. And as long as it sits in a window somewhere it's getting ambient light, it will charge. It's a cool item to have. A good one, I usually just keep this plugged in the back of my vehicle. I got a port in the very back, and when the car turns on, this thing starts charging. Stays in there all the time. This way it's always charged, it's always ready to go. And if you're stuck somewhere and you need to, kill time with the kids, whether you let them play games or watch movies or do something like that, it's a great item to have to not drain your car battery too. And that's another good point, guys. If you're going to be traveling somewhere where they're calling for bad weather or there's a possibility, download a couple movies on your car. We're going to get in a minute about entertaining kids and other people in the car in a minute, but this is just a good alternative to keep that phone charged that much longer. Let's talk a little bit about food, guys. You should always have food rations in your car. This is 2 things I carry and why. I carry a meat stick. This thing's got like a 5-year shelf life. Doesn't have to be refrigerated. It's got lots of fats in here, lots of salts in here. It tastes good. It's a psychological boost. I believe in comfort food and in stressful situations, but also food that fuels you. This will do it. Another thing, I pack these Cliff bars, whether you pack your own protein bars or whatever, something high energy, high fat that's going to give you high calories, guys, because you could be in this situation for 1 or 2 days, 3 days even. I've been for 26 hours, I was stuck on a highway, Snowden Highway, and I had all this stuff and I was fine and it was great. So food, high fat, high calorie, high protein, something that's going to give you energy, taste good, be comfortable, comfort food. On the food related topic, guys, I carry either a pail or I carry this empty mess tin. Why do I carry this mess tin? So I can cook and boil water in it. Not so much for eating, but I can just heat up water. I can have tea because I do have dry tea bags and freeze-dried coffee in my kit. How do I heat it up? With one of these. Now, before you get on my case, I reviewed this. I think this 3 candelabra lantern is a piece of shit as far as prepping goes. It isn't a good prepping tool around your house. Why? Because there's much cheaper sources of light. There's much easier sources to heat water. These candles in here are stupid expensive, but it puts off a lot of heat, and this will bring water to a soft boil if you set something on near a cup of water. So it makes a good car situation. It can heat up a very small space and heat up water or melt snow. Now in here, I use 2 beeswax candles and I use a regular candle. Beeswax burns a lot cleaner than these other candles here, whether they're made from paraffin or whatever. So you're not as high as risk as getting the carbon monoxide, but beeswax burns horrible in cold weather. They have trouble staying lit. The wax takes a lot, it doesn't melt as easy. So that's why I put a combination in here to give it a nice even heat with minimal carbon monoxide. You still got to crack a window though. But this thing, another source of light. Each one of these candles will burn for 9 hours each, but it will heat up water if you got all 3 on. And it's just a source of heat and light, and more importantly, to melt water for drinking or for tea. Now, I don't believe in packing a lot of bottled water in my car because why? It'll freeze, it'll expand, and then you're stuck with a plastic water bottle, and then you got to cut the water bottle out, put it in the container, melt it. I believe on just getting snow, or another alternative, guys, Coastguard emergency drinking water. Why this? You can buy a case of this on Amazon for like cheap, a case of 50 for like 30 bucks. This stuff will not freeze. It's good to like -40 or something stupid, I don't even know, but they're designed not to freeze in your car. So it stays liquid all the time. It's a quick source of water, drinking water. They're perfect. So I pack, maybe about 20 of these in the car. Touching on the basis, guys, of blankets and stuff like that. You should have, like I said, wool blankets, a good sleep bag, extra clothing. Stuff like this does not help, does help. What doesn't help are those emergency blankets that I put on my window to keep the sun out. I don't think those things are worth work as shit. Lightweight bivvies, you can get them. They're high reflective on the inside. They work the same thing as a solar blanket, only they're an emergency blanket, only they are a total sleeping bag. You can get them for 3 seasons, for spring, for summertime, and this one is for winter. They're not the be-all, end-all, but if I climbed into one of these and had the wool blankets inside of me, I've stayed out in negative minus weather. Combination with this going to heat up my car, keep my car around the freezing mark, a little bit higher, I would stay warm, I'd survive. I still pack a good winter bag, but this is just a little bit of extra protection that fits into like almost any space. A couple more things, guys. A good knife. Less Stroud knife I carry. You don't know when you're going to need a knife, whether it be protection, whether it be for whatever. You need a knife. Have a knife with you. It doesn't have to be this big and manly looking. Just a little pocket knife will do. Swiss Army knife, whatever. Cheap dollar store knife, just to have a knife for a knife's sake. That's all. Or a multi-tool. One thing that's overlooked, guys, a lot of people don't bring is ass wipe. Whether you get a roll or get these Coleman ones or whatever you want to do, you need ass wipe. You're going to be there and you might have to take a shit or whatever. Girls might have to pee. And if you're stuck in your car for a day, day and a half on the middle of a desolate highway, you're going to have to go to the bathroom. Climb out of your car, go to the bathroom. You're going to have to do something with these. So have some with you. This is, I don't know how many's in here, 30 or something like that. It's enough to get me through for a few days before I have to start using articles of clothing or something else. One item before we go further, guys, I did not mention is a glow stick. And why a glow stick? Yeah, they're good for light, blah, blah, blah. They're great for tying on your car antenna. And now if you're snowed in, or if you remember, if any of you grew up around where I did, Blizzard of 77, you can look it up, called White Death here in Niagara region, in western or upstate New York, Buffalo. Cars went from, in the matter of an hour, not being trapped on the highway to buried up to their antennas. People were buried alive in their cars. And if you had something like a glow stick to tie on your antenna when you know you're not moving, at least you're going to be visible to snow plows coming through, visible to people from the air. It's going to be a greater chance for you to be rescued if they can see your car, especially at night. Another thing, guys, we're going to talk about is, I know we talked about windshield washer fluid, de-icer. You might be in a situation where de-icer just might be the ticket. It's just an extra little bit of bonus to keep your windshields clean, especially if your car is not, you're stuck and you're not going anywhere and it turns to freezing rain or whatever. Last thing, guys, I'm going to talk about is keeping yourself sane, because eventually you might watch the movies on your phone. The kids might be tired of playing games on the phone. These things, guys, it's a cheap set, but it's 100 games in one. And believe me, it does the trick. You've got, checkers, chess, snakes, and ladders. You got something for every crowd in here. Whether you got a family in your car, whether you've got all adults in your car, well, hell, if you're even stuck on the highway and people 2 cars over want to, you guys all want to huddle in the same car and kill time. A deck of cards in this makes the time go by a lot easier when you got stuff to do. It gets pretty exciting. It's a time killer, but it's also keeps your mind busy and not worrying so much. Anyways, guys, those are the oddball things that I carry in this pile here, besides the usual stuff I mentioned at the beginning of the video. If you guys can think of anything else that that I'm forgetting, or add it to the comments below, because I'm not perfect by any means. These are just things I know that get me by in an emergency situation that I've tested are true to me and they work. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and I'm Wild Willie, and remember, it's not a question if the shit's going to hit the fan, it's a question of when, so always be prepared.